All right. So this is my Facebook page, and I started in 2004. I'm going through friends and people that have left me, and I've added new friends, and they've left, and I've added new friends. So Facebook, of course, is now obsolete. It's now not like it was when I was in school in 2004. Everything now is TikTok, was Snapchat. It really is Instagram. Facebook wants Instagram, and Instagram is. I'm still late on Instagram, so I just didn't like taking lots of videos of myself because I wasn't happy with myself. So let's go to my page. Today is graduation for all students across the United States that started university school. And as you can look, we have graduation next week for OU. We're always 1 week behind. And then after that, Rama has graduation, which is very easy. For Rama, second, third, and fourth year students, which is, again, very simple. True test of seminary is after you get out, not just getting out. But that is an important thing to note, no question. So what I did was I tried to document my life or my experiences, and I really felt like it's really important to do. It's very hard. But you're going to see me as an obese guy right here. Delta Sigma Pi's League Conference in 2007, 2012, losing a lot of weight due to the fact that I was poor on Section 8 food stamps and had no access to the money that I got now, which of course made me grow back to being fat again because I have so much money to eat what I want. So I have to really find a way to lose the weight, right, the right way. From OU in 2011, when I left OU, tragic experience. As you can see, I cannot say at all that I had favorite OU. What I can say was I was a work study student, which had access to things like computer labs. I was grateful, but I was angry because I had to fight for this with all my being. And when girls were there, I could not find one because I was always, again, 12 years older than them. I was always poor. You can see my waist. I'm wearing black, and that lets you know I'm fat. So that's why I'm wearing black because I couldn't wear no jeans. You can see the stomach. And so I'm moving to Atlanta, Georgia. And that was Johnny Chow, my best friends at OU, taking pictures of me as I left as a goodbye. He's now going to Harvard and getting his master's degree there. And we're still friends to this day. So let's see if I can find the actual album of me. Like, my warrior mom, may she rest in peace. Very sweet, beautiful lady. This is me right here. Graduated from Price College of Business fall of 2009. It's just a graduate from undergrad, but it was hard because my mom was gone. My aunts and uncles were not there. Nobody was going to come. I have a poor family on both sides of the tree. And I'm also on my mother's side, I have half aunts. And on my dad's side, I have aunts and laws. They're married to their brothers of my dad. And because my mom and dad were divorced, it's like you divorce your aunts because when the mom leaves her husband, she leaves her husband's family. All the classes I took, I took pictures of all of them. Look at that. I was really serious about documenting everything. Look at that. Man, it's good to talk about your past, man. This is where I want to go to law school, and I never did. But as you can see, these are the books I bought. One day, hoping that opportunity could come. And that's our picture. I graduated, and what they did was they take all the single individual photos and merge them together into like a photo that you have in a stand. Look closely, you only see one person with a blue tassel, Phi Beta Sigma on top. That's me right there. I look forward to get more degrees. So I have a picture of Chae, Marine Downing. I'm gonna find it in a second because this is, like I said, a video about her and relationships, as well. I've learned from Kevin Samuels. Right. So, as I can say, from this experience of dating, I can truly say, all these videos I've done already. Look at that, all of my videos. I can truly say that I wish that she would not die alone, but I don't think she'll be around for another 10 years. Sorry to say it. She sits in her house. She doesn't go out. Her own blood relative brother is like living his life, and he don't want to hang around his own sister because of her depression and her attitude. Remember, no one wants to hang around depressed people. We want to hang around people that are exciting, not people that make us feel sad. That's why I work so hard on my emotions to make sure my logic overshadows my emotion. Because I realize if I don't, I'll die. When you live by emotion and feeling and not by logic, you will die. You got to have and that's why faith is so important. The logic of faith, or faith coming from the word, and the word gives you a logical framework to live by. It's so critical because what it does is it forces you to stand for your family. It stands for your truth, the things that you were taught, the word of God that you had heard, that truth. And if you've been formulated and been taught the truth in the word, then you're going to want to stand by and live by that truth. Looks like I don't have a picture up here. It's been a long time since I've added videos to this. I was really advantageous. Pretty much in 2011, I started getting back into Facebook, and till about 2019, I was putting lots and lots of photos in. And now, of course, that Facebook is obsolete. It's kind of I use it, but again, we're going into other areas, so I won't be able to show you that. But she doesn't post the stuff online. She doesn't post anything on Instagram or Facebook. So she's one of those private people, which I respect and understand. One day I'm going to be Dr. Henry Howard. This is my full name. This is Dr. Dennis Daniels. He just crossed and got his tassel, and he is now a PhD. Mine will be Doctor of Divinity. So I'm honoring everybody because today is a special day, man. People are all across the United States standing in line, man. The top 1% to get that degree. And so while it's this tragic day because we lost Mr. Samuels, it's a great day because life goes on. People graduate from college, they do great things, and we can learn from it. And I'm going to learn. Salute to Jamar Dixon, who got his Bachelor of Science in Music, which is kind of a worthless degree as long as he's going to go and become a music teacher. I mean, that's all he can do. But he did graduate from college, so that does speak volumes. Question is he going to go to the public school system to teach music? Because that's the only option he got. Or here's some noise. Wow, I thought it was weird sounds there. Stop, the sound just stopped. Okay. And so, again, I can't show you her picture. But what Kevin Samuels has said to us is that we got to deal with the aspect of our women because they're the ones that are angry and they're the ones that are dying alone, like my mom. And why this is so important is that my mother died at the age of 49. Let me show you who she was. She never ever got a chance to see Facebook because she died in 2001 before Facebook was ever invented. I decided to make her a Facebook page. And so I made this page for her way back in 2011. And 51 people accepted her as a friend. Now she's gone. She's dead. And so now we see posts by my mother's grandmother. Her name is Eva. And tragically, I never saw her. That's my mom. She died because she wasn't loved. She was a smart woman, and anytime she was around, she wanted to make everybody happy. She wanted to make everybody happy. But when I had her in my life, I did not know her well enough because she was my mom. And so we never had those honest to honest talks. But we had those honest to honest talks. And it helped me to understand. I had those honest to honest talks with other people. And it helped me to understand my mother that much more, to appreciate her for what she's done and what she's doing. And she's been gone, I'm 48, and she's been gone 20 years. So another 10 years, she'll be gone 30 years from me. That's right, 30 years. Yeah, 30 years. I hope to be here. I hope to be here, brother. So, for those that, the young lady that watched this video, this 1 hour and 17-minute video, you can always fast forward. I will put timestamps and I will come back and pull out the best sections to make future videos. But the biggest thing I just want to say about the relationship with the girl that I'm talking about, her name was Chae, was that she's not a bad woman, but she is going to be a tragic woman. And the reason why I say that is because she needs counseling. She needs to talk to someone outside, but she won't. This is what I advised her to do. Get professional therapy. BetterHelp.com. She needs therapy. Now, the argument they say is you deserve to be happy, whatever that happy word means. I don't agree with that sentence because that's what a lot of people use to avoid responsibility. Well, I would say you should say to yourself, is this is what I think you should be. You deserve to be accountable to yourself. You deserve to be accountable to yourself. So many people are not accountable. All right? So many people are not accountable. And what that means is they're sitting there and marketed as being pretty and they all act like they got it all going on because, they're having sex. I mean crap. Go out in front of public, shine, taking pictures, don't mean crap. Happiness can change at a fleet of a moment. Accountable to truth is much more important. So when I look at Chae, I ask the questions: are you accountable to yourself? Are you accountable to your relationships? Are you accountable to your past? The answer to those questions, no. Let me explain. Because we want to make sure we say sexual. Why? There's all kinds of relationships. But the type of relationships that we're talking about is failed relationships. Failed relationships. So a lot of times what girls will say It's stuff like this on this screen. And I just typed this into YouTube. And thank God, YouTube is like Google, Google is YouTube. And it's almost like Encyclopedia Britannica for our lives. And it covers a heck of a lot of good information. Right now, my computer's running a little bit slow. It'll catch up. There we go. And so here's some of the topics in the video. Accountability in relationships. Do women take enough accountability for failed relationships? Tips on holding your partner, or your sexual partner, on their SHIT. Ready to Love Season 5. Now this is a stupid show that people talk about that don't work. I don't watch it. Female Accountability. Modern Rules for Dating. Understanding Women. It's complicated. Borderline Personality Disorder Relationships. Navigate Modern Love. Chris Rock talking about his rules of being in a relationship. You need to be honest at the start of relationships. A lack of accountability and the effect on you. How to deal with your partner's sexual sin from some Catholic priest here. How not to be defensive in relationships. My husband, this is really good, this is a great website called Marriage Helper, isn't attracted to my physical sexual appearance in a relationship due to her getting fatter. Very powerful point, because this is the root of the relationship problems that I have with Chae. When I met Chae, she was doing insanity. Let me show you what that is. Beachbody Insanity. And now the videos are real cheap. $8.25. But back 10 years ago, these 1,500 plus workouts were phenomenal. They were charging $150 for this workout. Everybody and their mama bought it. She had bought it. I didn't have the money at the time. So when I met her, she was doing these workouts. She just graduated from getting her MBA. And this guy, who I hate to say is homosexual, sad, he got a lot of white women strong and healthy. And remember, white women have always been about exercise, right? Because white women understood the value of keeping that body tight. Black women weren't, except ones like this girl who's married. Whenever you look at these type of these shows, they're always showing a white girl, size 4, white girl under age 30 to do these workouts. And look, another white girl, another white person. So she lost a lot of weight. And unfortunately, she did not keep going to psychology class to talk about why she got fat, because she was humongous. She was like me, 270 pounds. I think she was that big. If I can really honor, I think she was 250 at least. And with Kevin Samuels, when he counsels, God may he rest in peace, when he counseled people, he asked them their dress size. And he would ask them questions like, what's the largest dress size? Here's Kevin Samuels. What's the largest you've ever been in your lifetime of? And of course, it'll be a size 18, 20, whatever. And he'll ask the question, well, when was the last time you were a size 4? So we go look at the average girl, 5 feet for woman, size, dress size, 4. And it pulls up a nice link in which you can see the size chart. And it breaks down the different sizes. So, of course, when I type in this, it has a little question and answer always on Google. What should a 5'4" woman be? And she should be at least 150 at the max. So that is called a dress size 12 for a woman that is 5'4". So remember, dress sizes are different based upon the height. So that's why he asked, what's your height and your dress size? Because all is unique to your height. Your height determines dress size. Whereas for men, our height determines our suit size. And unfortunately, I'm not at the suit size of 150. My height says I should be 150 pounds, but at my height, I'm 270. So I'm obese, morbid obese. Same for the women. So I now recognize that I will not get a woman that I would want because I'm overweight by a long stretch. Well, the black women that call into Kevin Samuels' show are the same, but they are saying, well, I deserve a high value, 6 foot tall, perfect dress size man. That would probably be 6 foot tall, 35-inch waist, six pack ass, makes six figures, which is a very, very perfect guy. And of course, the girl's not going to make it. But then with the images and with all the butt shots, with all the butt implants, you can put a breast in, you can put a butt in, you can add a butt. These white girls now are marketing the way our black sisters have been for a long, long time. It ain't skinny girl like this girl. Look at her. This is a typical size 4, and it's like average. Now, again, sexually, that is easy because you don't got that much fat to go into the vagina. It's easily accessible. You get to the uterus, no problem. Does that mean that she's a good person in the bedroom? It depends on that woman. But again, as a man, most men will not find that desirable. Or any of these girls here that are size 4. These are all size 4s. All right, all size 4s. Now, when Kevin Samuels made that statement, he got a lot of people mad. And the reason being because women or black women are way above size 4. But the reason why Kevin Samuels said this was because once that woman gets fatter by having kids, she looks like this. Look at this woman's thighs. Look at how fat this girl is. Now, this is a dress, and they've got 1X, 2X, 3X, 4, 5, 6. Look at these pictures of showing fat girls, slim girls, slim girls, fat girls, slim girls, slim girls, fat girls, and the fat girl is always the black one or a white one, but most of the time it's the black one. Look at this lady. Look at this lady's legs. They're so fat that you don't even see her ankles because they call them cankles because the fat edema, which is going to end up having her have diabetes, is at an age where she has a chance of losing the weight and living a longer life. But no one's going to tell her that because they don't want to shame her to save her life. Well, that's how black sisters have been fighting so that we don't shame them. And so when Kevin Samuels was shaming women, telling them that if you have one child or two or three, you're gaining 50 pounds for every woman, for every baby. And this is not including any type of issues with your pregnancy because there's all kinds of fallopian tubes and miscarriages and all kind of things that can happen to a woman. And your behind gains 50 pounds each time. Come on. And so Chae had gotten to be this big as this girl I'm highlighting on the screen. I didn't meet her then. So the guy that meets me is a guy who saw her at like a size 6, and she was gorgeous. So if I go 5'4" and I change the size to 6, you'll see that's gonna be about 170. If a 5'4" size 4 is about 150, a 5'4" dress size 6, it's gonna have a little bit more meat on her bones. And as a man, I find that attractive. So again, growing up, I was never put into an image consultant. I never ever thought about an image consultant. I think about it now, but I never thought about it back then. Look at Shaquille O'Neal, 7'2", when he gets a girl that literally is 5'4", because that's the average, and you can see the height difference between the two. And so when we got into a relationship, she kind of stopped working out. She stopped trying to work out. She stopped trying to do things. And so I asked her questions like Kevin Samuels would. Hey, why? What's going on? And she would shut down and not talk to me. Now remember, I'm having sex with her, so now I feel a little burdensome because here I am in an intimate relationship. I'm not real satisfied sexually, and I imagine she wasn't either. Neither of us were talking about it. Sex was not fun. It wasn't exciting at all. She obviously was not pleased with her body, was not pleased with her appearance. She had fortunately a beautiful butt, but the reason why is because their fat goes to her butt. So when you lose weight, your butt looks better, but when you gain weight, your butt looks like that girl I just showed you who has fat legs. So here's how she looks now. Excuse me. Where did I show that previous picture? I would say she's about 5'4", size 22, and this is how she looks now. And you can see from some of the pictures, as they call plus size, aka fat, you can see the differences. So I hadn't seen her until um, 2020, and then I talked to her in 2018. So it was 2018, and I dated somebody else that I talked to her back in 2020, and so over that period of time, she came back to Atlanta. She started eating more, started getting fat, wasn't going to the gym, wasn't trying to fight to keep her health. She now says she's getting a nutritionist at 55, at this late age in life. But the reality and the root of this whole thing is that if you don't, and I state this emphatically, if you don't get help and you don't talk to a psychologist, you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. And in the end of the day, you're just going to be a girl who's going to be 56, 57, 58 years young, and you're going to be dead. And this is where she's at. Because nobody's dating a 60-year-old vagina. I don't care how many penises may have touched it. She may have had sex once, but if you're a 50-some-year-old woman and you've only had one sex partner in your whole 50-some years, there's something wrong with you there too. Just like if you're 25 and you've had 25 sex partners in that short 25 years, there's something wrong with you there too. It's on both ends of the spectrum. There are norms that are expected. You expected that a woman that's 55 years old to be a sexual expert compared to somebody who is 17. Because they're at the last days, they're at the end of their sexual market peak. They're at the days where they're not going to be able to have sex anymore. They're in menopause. They're at the point of the last stages before they're 80 or 70, really 70, and they can't have sex anymore. I mean, there's 70-year-old women that are having sex, but let's be honest, it ain't the same when you don't have estrogen hormones, and you got to take hormone therapy. The old women, you don't see porn showing old women. You see porn showing young women. And for mature women, you see porn showing women who are 40, and they call that mature, but you always see young girls, and because that's the way it works. 70-year-old women are not having sex. And so now, they market all kind of stuff, but for white men, who are the men that, again, like me, black men, but they're the ones that rule everything. They're the ones that do the videos because they own the videos that, or the programs or the things that make the videos work. So for me, growing up and being a man who was not put in the world of sex due to, thank God, I saw the dangers. My mom's words slapped me in the face. I was a mama's boy. I did not want to have a child of wedlock. What is? Well, no, what is it? Oh my God, that is stupid. Oh, I see what is going on. That's ASMR crap. Yeah, messing with the microphone and make sounds. The world's crazy, man. Like I said, sex world is always getting freakier and freakier and freakier and freakier, and it always will be. But the point I'm making is because what I'm saying is true, that also means the relationships, because there are sexual relationships, whether we want to admit it or not, eventually that couple's going to have sex. So we might as well talk about it. Whether they try to wait till they're married, jump over the broom to have sex, and then find out how much they're not happy with each other, which is in a divorce, or if they talk about sex so they can be happy, so that their first, second, fifth, 20th year, as they grow up, their sexual desires are met, but in a very non, debilitating, horrific way, like a cuckold and crap like that. But within the union of that couple, which is, like I said, crazy if you're meeting and doing the white world way of doing things, which is white way is the way of the porn way, which is the wrong way. And that's why it's so wrong. Look at this. It's always trying to show a white man who is, like I told you, the king of everything, being screwed by an older woman. Or for me, that's what I enjoy. I love white women. I love older women because I had a taste of that when I was a young boy. But when you get to be 50, you're the old man now. You can't mess with those 60-year-olds. I would never be 50 messing with a 60-year-old. I'd be, for me, it's going to be wanting to be with somebody who is younger. But I never could go and never would be with somebody who is, um, and so the crazy part about this is, and for me, it was the older woman that wanted young boys like me, and they would coach me and tell me what they wanted. And again, that's what happens to a lot of these boys because they didn't know how to have sex. And so those that didn't know how to have sex would go to the older women to teach them what to do. Those that was just like, I'm going to go out and have sex would be the ones that have 4 and 5 kids because all they did was squirt into the vagina of all these young women that they impregnated, but they're not going to marry these girls, right? And so what ends up happening is they have a whole bunch of sexual babies that came out of sex, like my father, but, um, you know, and that's how they get better, right? The more sex you have, the better you get at it. And so those are what women want. Those are the type of things that women want. They want to be with somebody that is skilled sexually, right? Even though they say they want to be with a husband that's going to be a provider, they want to be with a man that is skilled sexually, that knows how to use their penis, knows how to use their vagina, and makes their vagina do things that they never ever imagined. And so once a man has done those things to a woman, they're hooked. So when I was with Shay sexually, I she was a novice because she had been so beast in her 20s and her 30s, and I met her at 45. Really, I really met her at 45 because she's 54, and that's 9 years. And I actually she had to be I met her at 47 because I only known her 7 years. Don't know why it seems like I known her 9 years, but if you think about it, it sounds. I met her in 2013, and 2023 is next year. That's 10 years. So that sounds like 9 years, but she was 47 when I met her in 2013, or she just turned 48. Maybe she just turned 48. That may be why. But so, sex-wise, oral sex was the only thing that she needed. Vaginal sex did not do anything for her because she was pretty much a novice. She did not know how to use her vagina. Her vagina was, I hate to say it, um, she was a novice. She did not, and this is where I said a woman needs to be trained, and I get it. A woman, her vagina has to be trained, and we get that. But here's the problem: it's only trained if you're in a relationship, right? It's only trained when you're in a relationship, and he plugs his penis into your vagina and has sex. The woman only gets trained if she's having sex. But if she's having sex with lots of different penises and riding the cock carousel, as we would call it, she also and then getting with bad guys. That's the other part, the Pookie and the Ray Rays. Not just heterosexual, homogeneous relationships, but having sex with someone just to have sex, like with a married man. And that's stuff that she was doing. She went off into worlds that was crazy wrong. So when she told me about that, it floored me because I'm sitting there going, I never met a girl like that. I never met a girl like that would date a married man. That was like a no-go. But I realized my world was small. There are women out there who do that. There are men out there who date married women. So you just don't because you don't. You have value system. And so when I met her, she was honest. She said she was at AT&T and T and she left AT&T because she was dating a married man and everybody around the office was talking about her, and so it got her so frustrated she left AT&T. Now I feel bad because that confirms the argument of don't have sex with people that you work with, but it's hard. People have sex with people they work with all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Just like women have sex in porn all the time with different penises, they love it, and they why they say it hurts and stuff. They keep going back to that long penis. Why? Because they love it. So it's it's movies, it's making money, but it's also the mere fact I'm having sex. We can't, as a singles minister, put that out of the block. So then, if you take that woman that's 25 years old and you give her 30 partners a year times the next 10 years, that's 300 partners that she's had over 10 years. Don't you think that she'd be an expert at sex after having sex with 300 different penises? Of course, but if the woman is a person that is not, who is an average girl, who's, an average girl, keyword average, and that's what Shay was, obese, below average, lost the weight, became average. She then, of course, became very attractive to me, and that's when I met her, and that's when I went after her, and I got her. But you didn't understand the actual pain in her past. And then, of course, as every husband, every boyfriend would do, you sit back and you talk and you ask the questions. Look at this dude. Yeah. You ask the questions. And the questions, of course, are why, and you find out about her past and upbringing, and you see all those play into her choices. The big question you have to ask is how. See, and this is the crazy part. You know, how do you feel about yourself? And you realize as you listen to her talk, you realize that she never really cared about relationships because she wasn't taught. And then you find out that her mom and dad were tragic scenarios. You find out mom died after getting a college degree. She dies of cancer with three boys. So now we have three kids that are 6, 5, and 4 that are now babies. Think about it, 6, 5, and 4 kids, babies, have to be raised by their dad's mom because the dad is a rolling stone that don't take no responsibility and has got 10 kids of his own from many women. And the moms don't have her mom because they're in Jamaica and other parts of the earth, and they don't have residency in the United States. The worst thing of the worst thing that you could actually say should happen, that happened to her. But why do I have to meet her and have to date her and I get all this? Why couldn't she be a regular average girl? Because I had tragedy in my life too. And I guess that may be why, because I had tragedy in my life. And I guess, as Kevin Samuels said, you attract who you are. And I think that's exactly why I am making these videos, discussing these points, to work on the healing and the therapy so that I can attract better women because it is frustrating attracting someone from a place of from a broken place. You don't want to attract someone from a broken place. You want to attract someone from a non-broken place. Does that make sense? And a relationship is a lot more than just intercourse. It's a lot more than just that. That 20-minute sex session only lasts so long. It is about relationships and growing old together and having a legacy. It's not just about doggy style and how many strokes per minute you can do. So as I was talking to her and I was, going through 2013, 14, 15, and 16, almost 4 years, it became very frustrating because church is the only way I found to fix the problems in my family's life. It's church. I did not find any other way to fix problems because I didn't have the money to go to psychological counseling and get that therapy that I needed that much, that much. And I admit I need that therapy, and no question about it. But the reality is you don't have the money. Everybody doesn't have the money to get therapy. Sorry, we don't all have that kind of money. So what do? You suffer, you keep having sex, keep having babies, keep going through stupid relationships, keep struggling, keep straining. That's exactly what happens to a lot of people. And that's what I don't want. And so in 2016, She had moved because I really asked her to move, and a job opened up for her to go to Atlanta. I mean to Dallas, to New York. Unfortunately, it was the will of God. I say unfortunately, but it really is fortunately because she had an older dad who was dying, and she needed to meet him, and she needed to go watch him pass. Fortunately, or unfortunately, my dad is high and hitting his life for all of his children, so we won't be able to watch him die. But the fact is, I think it's right for children to help their parents, even though their parents don't do the right thing. Because when the circle comes around and it's our time to go home, we want our kids to be with us. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. So again, the way that it's operating now is that the the conversation that we have is phenomenal. The conversation that we should have had could have been better, but it's not going to be because the relationship in her eyes was sexual. And then if I'm sexual with you, I'll talk to you and tell you to a point my feelings. But the reality is that is not true. If a woman has control over a relationship, they're going to take control until you literally have to walk away. How you start a relationship determines how the relationship would be. And women want control. They want control. They need control. But they don't realize that there's always another woman. So every time a woman acts manipulative to a man to try to manipulate and control him, and then she's going to lose him. And there's always another woman that wants you if you're a high value man. They want you because that's the way God made them. That's the design that's in them. Their hormones desire that. Some people become lesbians, and those I hate to say are the ones that could never get a man in the first place, so they choose a woman. Tragically, there's lots of women out there that look like men and have no breast, no butt. They look so masculine. They can never get a man because no man wants to be with somebody that's a man unless he's homosexual, which makes him sick in the first place. And so now, with the world today, where women, black women, and white women are going after black men don't have to accept. They don't have to accept black women just because they're black. So what that means is black women are lost and they're left, and that's what Kevin Samuels said. Try to think about Kevin Samuels. The last night that he was alive, he was having sex with a woman who was, as he's 6'2", she probably was 5'1" or 5'2", 30 years, 20 years, 20. She's 56 minus 20. She was, that'd be 20. Will make that girl 26. Well, 36, and she was 30, so she was about 14 years his junior. No, 24 years, right? 24 years because 56 minus 20 would be what, 36, and then that make and she was 30, so roughly 16 years younger. Excuse me, 16 years younger. So being 16 years younger, all right, she is like, I'm with him because one, I want him, as every woman would want. He's very famous. All these thousands of women call him on this show. I get to go out to his house. I get to come to his house. I know I'm going to have sex because I'm coming at 12 o'clock at night. I already know. He's already told me he wants to have sex. They probably had a very deep discussion. She probably was on the pill. He probably made sure he had his sperm protected. And I'm pretty sure the typical foreplay and the typical sexual action happened. Unfortunately, we don't know for truth if the guy had any heart problems that should have put him on warfarin or I mean, just there's so many ways to prevent a heart attack, so he should not have had cardiac arrest. That's just a sad, honest to God truth. But then if you look at today and the way medicine is, you gotta go to the doctor and make them give you the test. You gotta pay for that out your pocket. If I had not gone to the doctor last year and made them check my leg when it was swelling, and it was swelling many, many times over the last 10 years, really the last 15 years, I know for a fact I could be dead. Because when I had my left leg swell, knowing it was a blood, not knowing it was a blood clot on both legs, but the left one got the worst, and I can trace my pain back to 2007, and I'm getting tested in 2021 during COVID, living in my apartment, walking around with crutches off and on for about 5 years. And all these are probably signs I was having problems, but I didn't want to go to the doctor. How many other men are that way? Lots. Lots of us are stupid that way. So she wanted him. She was a overweight, short girl. She was like a size 9 or 10, not a size, but she was pretty. She was pretty. An islander from Hawaii, so he wasn't choosing a white woman. Notice he didn't go with a white one. Believe me, he would have had plenty of white ones because white women loved him, but because he made a stance against white women, that knocked him off the block. And because he's done so many shows with black women only, he would never let a white woman in because he grew up in the South of race Oklahoma, and there's no way in this generation he could be with a white woman unless she literally said, "I forsake white people. I only want blacks." It'll be a woman that has to give up all of her white card, and white women are not giving up their white card. They'll have sex with a black man, but when they go back to being white, they pull their white card right out. So that's selfish on the white woman's part. They're not wanting to fight the fight with us, but they want the benefits of the dick, right? So the woman did call 911, but he just had a cardiac arrest, and basically died, and it just is tragic. And it shouldn't be, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But the lesson that we can learn from this is that women have sex as much as men have sex. That two women have sex with one man. Women share one penis. Men share two vaginas. A lot of stuff that are happening is happening, especially outside of the church. And those that are in the church are doing it, but they keep it as quiet as they have to. And so when you see someone that's a size 4, like this girl right here, who's a size 4, and she's a stick and has no butt, I mean, really, it's like I can lift that girl up. But the fact of the matter is, to a white man, that vagina is a great vagina. It stretches. It feels great. I mean, sexually speaking, when she's 40 years old and has had 3 kids, she will add another 50 pounds on that frame. So she'll look great. But a lot of us, because of how we were raised, we were taught that women like this are horrible. And I saw them in school, and I would never mess with them. I'm a literally 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, and I would never mess with a woman that slim. Because I didn't have a father tell me, in 40, she's going to be gorgeous. Now, if I could tell a son, that's the kind of woman you want, that's what you want. Now, the biggest question you have to ask is what will make a woman who has a wedding ring on her finger go to a casting couch to do a sex video with someone? The same thing that makes women do the things my ex-girlfriend do. Choices. Choices. But again, these are white men now that are behind all this. And so we have to acknowledge that. But like I said earlier, girl that I met, Shay, the pretty beautiful girl I met, I found her sexually attractive until she got fat, and I realized that she was a fat girl that lost a lot of weight when I met her. And what it did for me is it made me face the fact, Henry, you need counseling because if you do lose the weight, you need to make sure that you. Oh Lord, no, 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 not a fat girl like that. Heck no, heck no. You need to change your mind so you don't feel crappy because you are slim. Because when you've been fat your whole life and now you're slim enough where a woman can jump on top of you and ride you because you don't have a big stomach, oh my God, that's a whole nother change. Like Kevin Samuels, he's a guy that no girl wanted because he was a tall, lanky guy. He becomes very successful, and now all the girls want him. After being married twice to two black women, he goes all outside of his race. Fortunately, God allowed something that should never happen, i.e., he should have had sex with women. That was not going to be an issue. But what was sad about it was the fact that he, died on top of a woman. That wasn't supposed to happen. But we also know we don't know where you're going to die. You don't know what the day is going to be. But we pray that we don't die like that. Does that make sense? It hurts my heart though because in a lot of ways it destroys his credibility. But at least he can say he had an orgasm before he died. No, oh Lord, that's hard to say, man. That's so sad to say. So this girl, who obviously has got to go on witness protection because everybody and mama knows her name, first and last name, to Kevin Samuel's sexual partner the night he died. And they're going to put a lot of knowledge. They're going to say that she has something to do with his death. She's going to have to come out in front of the media to put that squash to words because that's going to affect her job, her career, her future, obviously her future boyfriend because she wants to have a final boyfriend. And to know that the person you were with died on you, how does that affect you when it comes to finding somebody else? So, like I said, the size 4 girl, you'll notice with black, they like to use size 4 girls. They want to make sure they use size 4. And again, this is why, because the sex is great with a woman that's a size 4 compared to with somebody that's a size 8 or 10 or higher. Definitely, the higher the dress size of the girl, the worse sex is. But the reality is that our black sisters are battling obesity. I would say Shay is now a size 14. And when you look at her last from 2013 when I met her, it's now 2022, and the jobs and the goals that she, wanted for herself, she's achieved those goals. But at the same time, the cost is she's going to be alone. So does it make the goal worth it? You understand what I'm saying? Here's another size for it. Like I said, they keep showing size for her. because the size 4 physically fit girl is nice. And of course, the white man loves this. So therefore, every other woman would too, because they all copy the white man, and we men copy them too, whether we like it or not. So Shay, I know is angry at me because in some of the conversations that she's had, she would talk about things and she would be quiet and say that I would use things as a weapon against her when we would have conversations. But the reality is, a real relationship requires people to talk about the relationship. It requires you to talk about your pain, talk about your past, and deal with it. So, for example, she told me about a scenario that happened last year. For 6 months, there was a cousin that moved down and came to her house. Now, Shay was a woman that was supposed to have her sisters come down and live with her for about 2 or 3 weeks over the summer. She told me about this for about a year before it actually was supposed to occur. Well, when that time came to come to Atlanta, they didn't go to Shay house. There was always something going on. They ended up getting an Airbnb close to the airport because she lived very far away, which I knew this is why she lives hella far. And I didn't think it was a good idea in the first place to come to her house, no matter how many bedrooms you got. You live in the backwoods, South Georgia. You live 45 minutes to the airport and probably an hour from downtown Metro Atlanta with all the traffic. So that's half sister and husband and children did not come. And so what ended up happening was, I saw it coming. That relationship that could have got strengthened did not get strengthened. Remember, these are half brothers and sisters. They don't, quote unquote, grow up together. They have different moms. But Shay's trying to be older sibling and trying to walk in love and do the right thing. Now, I will admit this. I wish our black sisters understood the value of intimacy and the value of sex because many of them don't. And this is why we have such tragic relationships and why white men get all the girls and why really the top notch women want white men. And that's why we have such the biracial kids. This is where they come from. The women that are dark skinned want that white man, which then of course makes biracial children. And for all the black men that are dark skinned Nigerian like me to have children with poor white girls to have biracials, you already know they're set for loss because if the husband is poor, the kid's gonna be poor because the man is very vital to the success of that child, regardless of what mama say. A strong daddy determines the success of that child. Look at how many kids today born to single parent moms who are in tragic situations. Beautiful. one thing you also learn is that when it comes to sex, you don't have to love the person, and that's a lesson I learned the hard way. You can lust the person, you can desire the person, the vagina, you can desire the penis, and that's why we have so many babies. And you can love having sex with that person, but quote unquote loving the person, it comes through sex. It's a big lesson I didn't realize growing up. A lot of people say, well, hey, it's all about quote unquote um, just being with the person. No, it's about intercourse. That's what you need, intercourse. You need to be inside that person. You need to have intercourse, and that creates the bond. That creates the love. So when you are a person that doesn't have intercourse, you don't create the bond. You don't create the love, and that's why you have so many women that will have sex with a guy because they're in love with him. The sex love makes the love love. Oh, and so for me, it's frustrating because part of me, as a Christian minister, knows we're not supposed to be having sex for marriage. But all the while, you're not having sex for like the last 20 years. Your pastors are having 3 and 4 to 5 kids over a 20-year period because they got to marry somebody and have lots and lots of sex. But they did not have the tragedies and struggles that you had. And while I could have gone and had sex with these women, as tragic and as messed up as I am, I'd have kids out there that'd be in the system. I'd be on wealth. I'd be on child support. Would that be worth me having sex just to say that I had sex? And so when you put all that into the mix, when you put all that into the mix, you have to come to the conclusion that your life and what you've accomplished and what has been done to you is the way it is. So, for example, as I come back and bring up the screen again, these videos mean so much. So, in this 2 hour and 15 minutes, we talked about relationships. And I would say I'm going to watch. I can't watch these. Why? Because they have copyrights on each of these. Each of these are businesses, right? But the titles you can watch. You can take that title and use it. So we plan to watch this after we get done. And we don't got to watch a church ministry. We got to watch. Now, again, the biggest thing I will say is that when it comes down to, I said again, sex, there is sex and then there is um, love. And I think they're both the same. I think that sex and love making are the same. I think that people don't want to admit that, but I think they're both the same. I think that sex, from my personal opinion, is for overweight people sorry, right? Because overweight fat people can't have great sex. All right, let me unsubscribe from this because I'm sick and tired of this channel always showing this Tampa Bay bullshit. I'll make sure I hit no on this. I want to make sure I say I don't like this. I don't like this police officer only showing black people on his show, but never shows whites. And believe me, there are more white people live in Tampa Bay that commit crimes than blacks. I promise you that. Anyway, back to my point. So now that Kevin Samuel's gone, we have to ask what's next. Because since being accountable to yourself is what Kevin Samuels had marketed, excuse me, Lord Bell, it's my doggies, being obedient and being accountable, accountable to yourself is number one. And that was the number one premise that Kevin Samuels marketed in his conversations. And now that God allowed him to die, which in essence helps Satan and helps Satan keep the black community in bondage, how does that help Jesus Christ come back? Now, I got that on the screen because as I'm talking, I want you to see the screen so you remind yourself of the context. We're talking about, as these videos on my screen are showing, becoming accountable to yourself. And these are white ministries. These are white ministers and with white videos talking to white couples about white problems, but it also applies to black couples. The difference between the white and the black couples is whites got 500 plus years ahead of us due to the benefits of slavery in the United States. And we black people, have 1900 to now, but we can consider ourselves to be families. Remember, blacks were under slavery, Jim Crow cattle slavery, 1890, 1870, 1860, 1850, right? It went to 60, June 65, June 19th coming up. We're going to have a holiday. This is for the second time in the history of our nation. We're getting ready to celebrate June 10th or June 19th for the history of black people around the country. They actually made a holiday. Thank God. We deserved it a long time ago. It's definitely deserved it by now. But the point I'm making is, for people like Chae, Mike's girlfriend, how does that apply? Because she's at home sitting sadly, and she's going to die sadly. And it's not that she's a bad person, but she's a person that does not want to change. She's a person that will sit back and give you 5 billion reasons why she can't change and not change. And the sad part about it is, when I look at some of the videos that I can't show right now, Kevin Samuels, because now that he's dead, I'm not sure what the copyright is on these videos. Can we actually share his stuff? I'm going to have to reach out to YouTube to find that out, because personally, I would like to know, because I think I want to get a PhD using this stuff. I think he's definitely part of all of us that are writing dissertations, and we can use him. Does that make sense? As you can see, my hair is receding, my hairline's receding there, which it obviously would be. But thank God I got hair on the side, so I'm pretty much talking about my head. I just got a haircut earlier today. And we have to admit our age is that we're getting older and we're losing hair, which is very frustrating. But my point is, um, what is God? And this is a biblical channel. But what is God going to do for the black community, knowing that black men who need to have fathers, black boys who are growing up right now need to be conceived rightfully, not wrongfully? Because let's be real, the women that are conceiving these boys are conceiving them wrongfully, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Aren't they? Damn right they are. Good. So glad I got boric acid. Keep putting that boric acid down. Since we know where the roaches are going and coming from, I got boric acid for your butts. Sorry, I had to put some boric acid down on the ground. Kill these roaches in Jesus' name. So, for me, it helps to ask that hard question, because it's a very valid question that must be addressed. It must be asked. It must be made clear. We got problems in the black community. So, for example, I was having a conversation with Chae last night, and Chae was talking about a nephew that came by her house and was 48 years old. And he was a half brother and sister. He was a sibling of one of her dad's kids. All right. So remember her dad, who had passed away in 2016 or something like that. He had many women that he was having sex with, doing the typical thing that our women do, right? And so, what ended up happening was he basically came down to visit with Chae, and Chae, as a wonderful woman, a wonderful aunt, sister, a wonderful half sister, said, "Hey, come on down. You on the Price is Right. You can come. Hey, we family. You know, you hear that term all the time. We family. This family is the blood thicker than water. Let's stick together. It sounds great, don't it? Certainly does. Certainly does. Well, the brother was 48 years old, and he already had been, in his own way, he had already been in his own way, doing his own thing, the way he did it, how he did it, no questions. But when you go stay in somebody's house, you have certain rules that unfortunately you got to follow because you're in their house. This is called just common sense 101. At 48 years old, I cannot stay in a woman's house, especially a single woman that decides to buy a 4-bedroom house, who now has gotten used to 20 years plus living in that house, who has no siblings because they got their home, basically on in her big house. And, it wants to be nice, wants to help a family member, but the dude is not really trying to find a job here. What he was trying to do was study for a cert to get into a new career. Now, a 50-year-old man, we don't have the time or the ability to waste time. We're at the last phases of our life. We really don't have the time to play around when it comes to life choices. So if when I moved to Atlanta, and again, this is what Shay's argument was to me. Well, Henry, the way you act, everyone don't have to be like you. And that's that same typical argument, because what it does, it lacks accountability. And the bottom line is, I stated was there's accountability, there's right and there's wrong. And then, of course, on the other side of the coin, Shay was arguing, well, you know, he could do anything he wanted to. So what happened was, for 6 months, Shay threw out an argument to go walk at 4 o'clock in the morning. So at so-and-so, a guy who never stayed at her house ever, who never lived in the city ever, brand new to the city, got to get up at 4, go walk with Shay, right? Because she got to walk. Well, guess what? She been walking, running, jogging 20 years. She don't got to get up at 4. She could do it. She could do it other times. But this is your guest who's supposed to be studying for a cert, right? And so if you're studying for a cert, you are needing that time in the daytime to study. You don't be you can't sleep, get up at 4 o'clock every day, and then stay up to 2 in the morning. If you're that person that gets up early at 4, you got to go to bed at 9. Why? Because you got to give your body what it needs to study. It's like going back to college. Think about that, and you're 50. That is a big thing, being 50 years old and going back to 22 years old and back to college. And I know how hard it was for me going to college, taking 15 hours, right? And this is just for one cert. This ain't for 5 classes, right? So, so I don't know because at this time I wasn't talking to Shay. Shay got mad with me because I got my job and then I stopped talking to her. So I learned. That was a growth to me because I saw the pattern with Shay. I saw this pattern of anytime good things happen to me, it was like I don't want to talk to you. But when bad things happen to you, oh, I want to talk to you. But then she won't never talk about herself. She'll sit on the phone and she'll let me spend hours telling her about my stories, but never tell about hers. And I said, that ain't a marriage. That ain't even a fucking relationship. That's bullshit. So I've grown over the period of the last 3 years to recognize bull S when I see it. And so I called out a spade. Well, you know what she tries to do? You hurt my feelings. I don't like it. Every time I say something and you don't agree, you get mad. You get angry. Yeah, I'm a man. And men get angry. That's what makes us men. Bible says, be angry and sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. We don't walk in like in eggshells and walk in quote unquote white mindset of being quiet and yes a bossing and always yes a bossing. We have to stand up for wrong and stand up for righteousness. And when we see something that ain't right, we stand up to it. And so this guy, her cousin, person that she ain't seen in about 30 plus years, 48, he'll never show up in that woman's house again, ever. And so what I said was, what I said, straight right now standing on my arm, my leg, that one leg I'm trying to strengthen here. Well, give me a second. What I said, so what she says is, the night when he left, remember, I didn't say this. He was homeless from Philadelphia. He comes all the way down, driving his car to Atlanta. So somehow to study for a cert to become a broker for homes. Well, the economy is crappy right now. Yes, homes appear being sold at high prices, but a bubble's about to happen. So anybody who gets in this market of homes is set up for disaster. Same way it was in 2007 when everybody was running for those houses. So anybody who gets into the home market, they're already going into a negative market, and it's the worst thing to do, especially when you're 50 years old, got a software education in engineering, and you're at that point where you're about to be overqualified. So you got to keep studying because you can't really do nothing else. I'm in software engineering, Cisco. I'm at a point now where I can't do nothing else. I can't go change and get into a degree like UA and go UA computer engineering. That takes 15 years just to get to the level of where I'm at now. So why would I want to take the last 15 years before I retire to get back to where I am now. I'll be still making the same amount of salary at 65. And I don't want to make, I want to make more at 65 that I'm making now. I don't want to stay at this salary all the way every year at 65. I'll be losing money. Why? Because the economy gets, much harder and harder. So even though I'm, keeping this salary, you want to go up with the cost of living, not stay stagnant with the cost of living as the interest is creeping up on you. So she got mad because she said he would be upstairs because she has 3 bedrooms upstairs and she's got the master down. But she did not like, you know, walking around with clothes on because she got accustomed to walking around the house naked, which you would expect when you're a woman living alone. That's why when our mama died, what do we find her? In her bedroom naked, because that was her domain, and people don't like wearing clothes, right? And that's where we found her, in her bedroom naked. So for me, I understand. I get it. So I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset at what happened. But what she said was he decided to leave and he didn't even say goodbye. And when a man leaves a house and gets in a car, packs his car up, and just doesn't even say goodbye, leaves the keys on a dresser and doesn't even say goodbye, she says to me that it was his fault only that basically he left. I said, did you ask him any direct questions? No, I didn't feel I had to. Typical mistake of a female. Same mistake women make when it comes to relationships. Instead of being direct and asking direct yes or no questions, it always is assume, ASS out of you and me. And so she assumed he understood just because she thinks she understands. And I kept trying to say her women think different. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. He is in your house that don't belong to him, your house that you've been having for 20 years, your house that is done with your way, and he's a grown man who literally lost his apartment or wherever he was staying, his girlfriend, because obviously I don't think the man was a loner. I think he was somebody who had a girl. She says, well, he decided he was going to quit working for the white man. Now, he's 48 now, my age. And he's going to just give up working for the white man and start this entrepreneurship as if he got MBA and all the skills required to have that. So, of course, when I started asking I told him I think it was lazy. And I started comparing him to my brother Damien. And she got mad. And so when I next day, this afternoon, I bring up, I'm not like your brother, I'm not like your cousin Reggie. I'm direct. I'm gonna tell you to your face what's going on. Said, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore about my past. Well, you weren't talking to me about your past before because we had conversations over the last couple weeks about her past. I threw out story after story after story that I remembered. And the number one reason it wasn't, thank you, Hank, for letting me remember my past. It was, how dare you bring up my past? Because in her mind, she don't want to bring up your past because her argument is, I just listen. I don't do nothing to help you. I just listen, as if your listening is gonna make me change my life. As if your listening is gonna make me become a better person. And so, um, I tried to explain to her, listening only does so much. You got to be willing to listen, but you got to also act. So you can't just be a person that dates somebody or in a relationship with someone and ask them to listen only, but never transform their life. You can't do that. You have to be a person that is challenged to change. It's very important to be challenged to change. And so, from the standpoint of talking to Chae, it was like I learned the hard way. Ooh. Oh no! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I'm apologizing. Yeah, this is my old one. Oh, I saw a crack in my iPad, and I was like, "Oh no!" But I cracked the iPad many years ago. I got two iPads. My new one is not cracked, but I got like a 4-year-old iPad that's almost obsolete, and that still works. So I'm gonna still use that to the roof, as I said, till the wheels fall off. Thank God for good Apple devices. And so she kind of got mad at me, but here she are in the house, and she has no friends. And the girls that she's so-called call her best friend got a husband. I guarantee he helps her. And Shay's gonna die alone. So the argument I made from the very beginning of the video, that's why it's so important for me to get my shit together. You don't have to die alone. You can live right. You can live holy. You don't have to die alone. And so, what I really believe now is that conversations, and I'm watching YouTube now. I'm about to jump into the YouTube space now that Kevin Samuel's gone, and I'm watching all kinds of people on their cameras in the YouTube space, and I would truly say this: not all of them, in my opinion, are intelligent, and I feel like I have an intelligent thing to say. I don't think I'm nowhere near Kevin Samuel's level, and I want to get there, but I've got a lot of areas of weakness in my own life, but I feel like I have something to say. I have comments to say, and right now what it's going to be is taking Kevin Samuel's points, his talking points, and adding to them. He's got over 800 and some videos, and he said it in one of his videos he did recently. He said, "Man, You know, I don't think he had a premonition of his death, but he's going to be like Tupac, that his stuff will be used 10 to 15 years from now, just like Tupac. And it's unfair, but if you look at Tupac, he's immortal, even though he only lived 25 years. He's immortal, and we have to acknowledge that. All right, time for, I got to study for the interview on Monday, so let's get over here. Let's get this video up for the CCCE. All right, here we go. Then we can turn that. Then we can turn that fan off. That gives me a little bit of air, and then we'll open up StreamYard. Let's see if I can have two StreamYards happen at the same time. I don't know. I'm gonna turn off StreamYard on my other computer. All right, there's one broadcast. Let's create a new broadcast, and let's make this for Cisco Collaboration Hank, record only, and this would be Cisco UCC Enterprise CVP IVR ROGGR LOGGR call flow study session, and this is today's date. All right, I'll hit that, get to the broadcast studio. This would be great if I can have two things running simultaneously. Yeah, stop that cam, got that up. Get in the studio. Add to the stream, and add to stream, share, okay. All right, move this over here. Cool. All right, the brand, countdown, chord. Get back here, get back here. You know better than that. You don't go in there. You have plenty of food. I've given you plenty of food. Test the 1 2 3. Test the 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 1 2. St. Cowley coming to you live and direct from his office, and I've got two scenarios on. All right, loud and clear. I've got two things going on right now. I got a headset connected to my one computer that's running StreamYard, right? And then I have another headset. I have my computer with its own headset, which is connected via the actual internet, which reminds me, let's go get that cable. 1 second. I've got to plug in the cable so that we're using the actual Ethernet cable instead of the router, because the router, unfortunately, is wireless, and that can have issues with sound, and router Wi-Fi's aren't very stable, but there are some things that are not always stable. So let's get our Ethernet in here. Roll it up. I'm on a nice Saturday, 5/1/2000. Actually, I'll take that back. It's more than 5. I think today is 5/5/6. Yeah, today's the 6th of May. May has already started, and we're in military appreciation month. And what I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready to study for a test on a skill set that I need to master. There I have tons of jobs that are offering money for people who study this area. It's definitely beyond the actual area that you get for the cert, but it's definitely a product that I definitely want to master, and it's called UCCE. And this company right here you see on my screen, it's I bought a course, and this course cost over $2,000. And I bought a course that's supposed to teach me these skills, right? So for me, while I'm going back and studying call manager and going back and studying the process of what I need to just know for everyday work, but also for multiple recertifications, again, as I was saying earlier in my blog, and this is a little bit extra because I have another blog on simultaneously about my girlfriend, a live stream ex-girlfriend, and I'll end up cutting that and end up editing that in a few minutes, but I just want to get this other blog running simultaneously. And I realized that in our job, especially when you get to be 50, you don't have much time to change jobs and restart over search. You got to keep studying. And unfortunately, there's a sad, sad thing within the black community and that people think 50 is 60, but due to the fact that people are dying, like Kevin Samuels at 55, 56, it almost sounds like being 50 is being 80, right? Because hell, people not making it to 70 like they're supposed to, at least 70. We all expect to make it at least to 70. So I am frustrated, very angry. My mama didn't make it to 50. Kevin Samuels doesn't make it to 60. I got to make it to 80. And I've got to do whatever I can in my power to make that happen in the name of Jesus. So I plugged in my quote unquote my power thing. I'll make sure I switch it over to turn off Wi-Fi and turn on the actual router. Give me a second here. So we got internet access. I want to make sure I have turn off the Wi-Fi settings. Keep feeling something here. More Wi-Fi settings. We'll turn Wi-Fi off, and let's see. Now that I turn Wi-Fi off, let's see if I have access to all the networking. I should. Let's click on this, and let's look at the network and make sure that I am connected. Okay. Anything else to add? No, good. So technically speaking, I just turn Wi-Fi off. Right, I can always turn that back on instantly, but I still be connected by what we call, and I'll go over here, go to search for view network connections, and this will let me know what I got running. So Wi-Fi is not connected, but I have Ethernet cable, Ethernet network cable, Ethernet 2, VMware. Where is going on with Ethernet? Now, this is a Realtek Gaming family controller. Let's go look at the IP layer. Let's look at the status. Is that the one? Because I need it because I have a brand new laptop where I'm looking at right here, and I want to make sure that the Ethernet is working. So network connections, we got network and internet, we got Bluetooth, we got VMware, we got local connections. I don't have my I have a small older computer that still works that I'm still using. Local area connection unplugged. All right, let's do a test here. Something went wrong. All right, there it is. Try again. So it looks to me like um, I've been using Wi-Fi, not using the quote unquote Ethernet. So I've got to go turn on the Ethernet because something was not turned on. I thought it was, but now we know. All right, let's go over here to that other side of the cord because dumbass. Sorry, something fell and not made me piss me off. All right. Okay. So I think what's going on is I don't have this cable plugged in to the actual router. So we got to plug that in. We'll plug that in. We'll verify it's plugged in. And what that'll do is that allow me to have two computers plugged in to the Ethernet. Because you really don't need to use Wi-Fi if you got Ethernet cables, because that's how most companies work. We run off of Ethernet. Cat 5, Cat 6 is great. Only time we need Wi-Fi is like for iPads. You can use Wi-Fi for them, but not for the computer. It takes computer requires too much anyway. So let's go look at it. Okay, I see the cable, but I don't think it's plugged in. Smell something. Weird. It kind of smell like something burning over here. I don't know what that is. All right, so let me go over here and let me pull this out and this up. And let me pull this. Yep, it's unplugged. That was the problem. It's unplugged. So the Ethernet cable is unplugged because I only had so many ports in the back of this router from Xfinity. So we're going to unplug one of these ports, plug back in this cable, and now I have access to Ethernet for both laptops. And so now, as I'm talking, you hear me talk about another computer. So give me a second while I do that, and I'm getting ready to end this video. It's been 2 hours and 54 minutes kind of discussing past stories. We definitely need to chop down everything that we said, because we said a lot and there's a lot of stuff to be said. Every relationship has its issues. There's no such thing as a relationship that is perfect, and that's why I like making videos, because it forces you up to have a spot open. There we go. We have open spots. I'm gonna plug it in to this spot right here. 1 second. Click. Oh no, that's a telephone spot. Sorry. I'm gonna have to decide on what to do here. Okay. All right, that's lights. Okay. What does this one go to? I see that, but where does that go to? Okay, that goes there, and that goes there. But what about this? Where does this go? I think. Oh, that goes to the NVIDIA Shield. So NVIDIA Shield, I'm gonna have to see if I can order me another hub, Cat 5 hub that I can maximize Cat 5. I can run it from my router to a hub, and I can plug other Cat 6 cables into it, which then allows me to put more devices. It's a typical CCNA question, you know, what is a hub, spoken wheel, and stuff like that. In the meantime, I'm going to disconnect the light switch that I don't use often and plug in the cable here. Now what that's going to do is going to connect my other computer to the network, and once I see that register, I got access to all the internet. Once you got access to the internet, you can do StreamYard, you can make videos, you can share it, all that good stuff. And now you've got, as you're supposed to have, your computer set up and set up correctly. All right, guys. So I'm over here now. I've got that figured out, that problem. I basically want to say thank you for listening to me. Again, there's relationship issues going through the things I've experienced in my life, and just talking about my little area. And I regret because, like I said, anybody that calls themselves a pastor doesn't mean they're a pastor. That's just a title. It's about what they do in the life of the people that they're supposed to be served. And I would have to say, tremendously, most of the ministers that say they're pastors are failing when it comes to talking to women. My girls are good girls. They're not evil. They're not horrible women, but there are women that are broken. And I live in Atlanta, where it's like they say, 17 and one more women than men. But let's just be realistic. If 17 women are broken, and to one man, then you can't find nobody. So where it should be beneficial to live in Atlanta does not necessarily mean it's beneficial if all the girls are low value women and you're a high value man, or vice versa. We all got to work on becoming high value adults so that we can find the best person for us. And so, as I was saying, talking specifically about the relationship with her siblings, I went my mind back to her stories that she shared with me way back in 2013. And like anybody in a relationship, you remind them of their past, except she doesn't with me. But I remind myself because, like I said, I learned a lot of women don't care. They only care about talking about themselves. They don't really care about you. So when you find a woman that really cares about you, she's going to talk to you about your past. She's going to remember what you said. She's going to remind you of what you said and why. But when you live a life where you don't have a value system, where you don't believe in a church philosophy, where you're not believe in a biblical philosophy, and there's a lot of people out there today, where they live in a what we call a mental logical college realm, situational ethics. There's no standard of right and wrong. And as she would always say, a multiplicity of factors lead to a common cause. So her life, unfortunately, as I got to know her, was always giving me negative red flags, but now the red flags have become huge red flags. And that's why I'm okay. So earlier today, she was telling me how she doesn't feel like she needs to talk to me anymore. I said, that's okay. I am not going to be afraid. I'm not afraid of you, Chae. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not the one that's in pain only, that's quote unquote saying I need help, but I won't get it. You are. I'm not the one that sits in her house by herself, has no relationships with her family on her dad's side, and her mom is dead, so she has no relationship to her mother's side, and dying a slow, tragic death. It's an emotional death that leads to a physical death. And you think a man's going to want to walk into that type of family? Hell no. And you're already 54, and you look 54, and you're getting older, and you're fatter, so that even makes you more unattractive. How are you going to change? It all starts with forgiveness of the past. It all starts with counseling. It all starts with talking to people about your past. You've got to talk to people. Uh-oh, what's that? I heard a beep. I see a amber flag there. That one's green, but I see amber on that. So I got to go check my laptop. 1 second. Oh, I forgot. Wrong one. Yeah, you disconnected. Remember, that's going to your NVIDIA. So you need that, remember. That goes to your NVIDIA. Sorry. So let's plug that back in. So that's NVIDIA, but this it's got to go somewhere, one of these extra spots. So which one is this? This one would be, or this will go. All right, cool. All right, so now my network is back up. I have Wi-Fi still running. So when my unplugged my LAN, Wi-Fi backed it up and came on for a brief second. But now that I've replugged back the LAN, now the LAN network is on. So it's like a dual backup. Trying to build that in my other computer as well, Wi-Fi and LAN, just in case one goes down, the other one goes down. It can back it up. 1 second, I disconnected my NVIDIA. I've got to now go look online once I get my computer back. I'll give it a couple of seconds for Amazon Cat 6-port hub, and I know they make them just for the house. So, all right, Ethernet Cat 6 port hub. All right. So it's a Cat 6 cable, Ethernet Cat 6 cable. All right, there we go. So you see the Ethernet cables, but I need the hub. All right, and there it is right there. We call it the Ethernet split or switch, and it does all the traffic. Netgear got one 8-port, and that's what you finally need because you never had 2 computers back to back. So now, and that's $17 versus, and that's what you need, and you get it to overnight. And they're doing gigabit, so that's perfect. That's all you need. And that's how you will be able to connect that one import from out of this router. You can connect that router, right? And that router would then send out signals to the extra, because you only need to use one of the ports, but if you definitely need to use another, you got 4 extra ports available. I can't buy that right now, brother. I'm out of money right now, dog. So I have to wait. All right, but it's on my list. All right, so again, it's frustrating. See if the light turned green over there. Had it turned green yet? I see it flashing on 2 of them, but I don't see it flashing on that bottom one. So we got to go over there and double check that network. In the meantime, Kevin Samuels, it's becoming known. We're getting used to your death. We miss you. I didn't know you that well, so I can't necessarily cry over you because I didn't know you. I just knew you as a fan, but I definitely analyzed your work. I love the black and white monochrome effect that you had all that knowledge of monochrome and image. And I'm gonna tell you something, the next person that steps up's got to be educated in this area. So that's why I've got to now study this, because you can't build a brand if you don't have the knowledge that he had. He took all of that from Image Consultant to build his YouTube business. And I'll be honest with you, 99.9% of the people like the Peef, they ain't doing crap. They ain't making videos. Some of them getting sponsorship, but it's very weak. And he set the bar so high that when white mega companies come in, they're going to overshadow us. They're going to take over the YouTube game. And he said it himself. That's why he can have a net worth of $3 million. Amen. So we'll go click on any updates on Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuel updates. And so I clicked on Kevin Samuels. We're going to see Comedy Hype is a stupid show. They are comedy hype, so I won't even watch them. Other people, they got their little videos on. It's always negative about that. I'm surprised that he lied about his age, though. He said it was 53 when it was really 56. As you watch the videos, and I'm looking at each video has a thumbnail. As I'm looking at the thumbnails of all the videos underneath Kevin Samuels, you see how his looks so much better because he paid the money for the great thumbnail. Whereas the ones that are crappy, they look crappy. You know, Mr. Let Him Go, he took his thumbnail and then put it in. So all they did was copy that. But if you look at other people, and look at Kevin Samuels, their thumbnails are great. Even Hot 97 has a crappy thumbnail. Just shows you their lack. Um, and then this stupid ass noisy whole live gossip and newsroom. That's why you are a hoe. Says that he's a trans attracted just to destroy him. I don't even know why it's showing up on my link. Let me make sure that I dislike that bullshit and make sure that um I don't subscribe. I just make sure I put a dislike. Since I have the right to like or dislike something, I'm gonna dislike it if I don't like it. Um, Eyewitness reveals little Kevin's last moments. We already know the last moments. Okay, we know. Uh, Gone but not forgotten. Tribute to life and career of Kevin Samuels. And you see the old picture of how he looked. He was a very happy guy to now, 1965 to 2022. And it's like what they say, your life it's that line in the middle. It ain't the birthday or the death date, it's that line. And he had a nice, I wish he could have, fulfilled it to 80. I wish he got to 80, man. That's the only thing I'm angry about is that he didn't make it to 80. Um, but he wore the best clothes. He traveled around the world. He was thinking about, I don't know about the world. I don't know around the United States. He was thinking about moving from Atlanta, you know. And it's obvious he was having sex with different women, which I think was wrong. But at the same time, I realized clearly that he did what he felt he wanted to do. I now, as a black man, know that I'm not, even as a single 48-year-old man, I'm not choosing to go after 5 different women simultaneously. I'm not going to barter one girl against another. I have always been a one woman man. Unfortunately, the women I dated, they would be like long term relationships. It's only the last relationship that I had with a woman by the name of Marianne Tiger that was a long distance, um, kind of set up relationship set up for disaster, which thank God I got myself out of it before I did more damage to myself. And so even though I talk about this particular girl, her name is Chae, who I wish the best for her, believe that she's a good woman, even though she's angry at me for the fact that I challenge her thoughts and challenge her beliefs and make her feel bad for not thinking about her thoughts. I still believe with all of my heart she has a right, an opinion, and to be happy. And as everyone says in the whole theme of self-help, you deserve to be happy, right? All right. So if you deserve to be happy, then if you're not, any guy who is your friend will come after you because they want you to be happy. Anybody who doesn't want you to be happy is not your real friend. If they just sit around you and they don't say, hey, man, you don't look happy, there is a problem. Okay, I see orange light. So I'm going to check that on my computer. It's an orange flickering light, and it's flickering pretty fast. I got to find out if that orange light means internet's up or not, because some computers use the orange light for internet working, and others use a green light. So once I buy that gigabit, I'm pulling something. I feel it. What am I pulling? Oh, I felt like I was pulling something. Um, Better get back a little bit. I bullshit. Get back. You know better. Don't play with me. This ain't no talking my dog here. I'll pop him. Throw something at him. Get back. Thank you. Get back. You know better. Let me throw something at you, Little Bell. I have to teach my dog that it don't come in here because number one, I got insecticide spray. Number two, I don't want her touching the spray and getting infected by cancer. I'm trying to kill these roaches, and unfortunately, I have to use some type of spray to do just that. Amen. So, but like I said, he had the ability to go travel. He had the ability to go places. He was very proud of the place he went. Um, my only time in my life that I can say I'm proud of going anywhere was 2017 because that's when I got a top-notch rating at AT&T, and T, and I got a nice bonus, and I was able to travel. I told you, Lord, about get your ass back. I told you get back, and like he come back, I'm gonna throw it at her. I'm gonna throw it at her. She gonna learn. And when I ended up having, yeah, kill that insect. Yes, kill that gnat. When I ended up going to New York for the first time, I could barely walk. I'm kind of in that same situation right now. Probably had blood clots even back then, but I didn't have that diagnosed. So, as a person that didn't have blood clots diagnosed, I'm just thinking I have a problem with my ankle and I just got weak legs because I was a lazy, which is true, sedentary computer guy that sat still while working 12 hours a day doing my job, which those things are true. But I now realize those things cause the blood clots. So I should have really worked very hard back when I was, going to do the Peachtree Road race and things like that to really work because I didn't know that if I had kept lackadaisical acting, I said get back, I would be in trouble and could die of a stroke, heart attack. There's all kind of things that blood clots can do. So, so I'm right now eating a little bit of lunch. So, pardon me. This live stream is just like a stream of consciousness. Amen. I realize that I can talk for hours, but to get all this off my chest, and this gets documented forever, right? To come back and watch, listen to. And so for me, I was, dating a girl who I really tried to transform. I have to say, she's the first girl I can say I dated with my eyes wide open. Where I had my eyes wide open, where I was aware. I know what I wanted. I tried to get what I wanted. Um, you have to ask the question, which I know I would. Why did you date somebody so older than you? That's a very good question. Looking back on it, I will never date. I hear some noise. Weird. I would never date someone older than me. I think that's wrong. Thank you, Lord. I'm glad you stayed. Good girl, Lord Bell. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, and I think that internet's working. We'll double check in just a second. And for me, I personally felt that Chae, I don't know. I guess because I dated older women in my 20s, and I didn't date older women in my 30s because I spent 10 years studying for degrees, and I couldn't meet an older woman because they wanted. When I was in my 30s, girls did not want to date a man that was in his 30s unless he had money, unless he had power. I had none. I'm a student at University of Oklahoma. I have no money, no power. So I couldn't get a young girl because they want money too. As Kevin Samuels said, the young girls did not want to be with guys that had nothing, even if they're age older, even if they're older in age. They wanted to be with people that were with money and age. Back, 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 back. No, no. Well, you serious? I'm serious. Back. No, no, no. Time to learn. That's why you have foodies. I got your food out there. And so, trying to teach my dog what to do, because the one he knows not to come into the kitchen, that'll help him not taste any of this poison that's on these floors, trying him not to get sick, die on me, man. So, so no, get back. And so, when it comes down to Marianne, let's talk about the opposite. It's just a hard stop. Another point in my timeline that we can fast forward to. Make sure you update the description, okay, with the different timestamps. So, Marianne was a girl that I saw in a group of girls about 16 to 17 years earlier. Back in 2001, I was going to a church called Victory Church, and I was working at a school job called Microtech. And I was 26 years old, and for me, I just got to Oklahoma after 9/11 and after my mother's death in 2001. So instantly when I got to Oklahoma, got to Raymond, I instantly found a couple of girls there because it's a very small world. But I was a dude that had been a member of a church called Faith Christian Center. Um, I had been living for God for 4 years. Right after my girlfriend Chae, the first girl I fell in love with, the one that I wanted to marry after graduating with my associates in 1995. Um, and she was a woman that had a child from a previous relationship, but I wanted to adopt that child and I wanted to marry her, like a lot of dudes do. When she ended up committing murder of her baby and getting sentenced to life sentence in Georgia Department of Corrections. And to this day, she is a woman that is on parole in Sandusville, Georgia for the rest of her life because of the sin that she committed in 1996, September of '96 of killing her child from a previous relationship, and it hurt. But part was my fault. I met her my sophomore year in school. I I threw all my love at her. I threw all my love. She was a very young girl who I really believe fell in love with me and fell in love with the potential of marrying an army officer. Wouldn't anybody? And I took a year extra to stay and work for Georgia Military College in order to come and visit her to build up our relationship. So instead of a college age where I meet you and I fall in love and it's a one night stand, I really pursued it like I was going to marry her and introduce her to my mom and everything. This is between 95, 96, and 97. And so, actually 95 and 96, excuse me. From 95 to 96 when I worked for Georgia Military College. And then in 96, I met a white girl named Marcy and I started dating her in Jacksonville. It was wrong. And I stopped calling Denise Levon Gordy. And I pretty much just lied. And she called me one day and like we had long distance back in those days. That means today on cell phones, I can make a long distance call anytime, day or night because of data. We pay for data. Back in those days, we didn't have data. So, yeah, minutes. And you're like 600 minutes a month. And you have from Friday 7 p.m. to Monday 7 a.m. to make unlimited calls. So all of our calls are over the weekend. So throughout the weekday, you can make calls, but usually in minutes. And so the girl who I loved but was cheating on argued me on the phone, accused me of cheating. I lied and said I did. Hung up the call, go out, hang out with this dude named Keith. We go on the Fernandina Beach and we're doing all kind of things. Remind you, I'm supposed to be in my summer, going into my fall of 1996 school year. I wasn't going to class. I got straight F's for the summer of '96 because I was hanging around this dude named Keith I shouldn't have hung around. So I was a guy that never had a girl, never had a car. I went to high school, had to catch the bus from high school every day, two buses a day, and I could not. I never actually had a childhood experience when I went to Georgia Military College. And instead of being grateful I had a West Point like experience, and I couldn't go to West Point because my grades weren't great enough. I had a similar West Point like experience, and I could have been a great Army Reserve officer, National Guard officer. I was angry because I wanted to be like every white boy, have a college experience, party, drink. But I'm a Georgia Military College cadet. We're better than those people. We're soldiers. And I didn't understand the value of that. The God was giving me this opportunity because nobody in my family had that opportunity. And so hanging out with Keith, plus my decisions, led to getting with a white girl named Marcy, led to Denise calling me a cheater. I lied, don't say I did. She ends up killing her own daughter. The next week I called up to Sandersville. Grandmama said she in jail for murder. I never to this day have visited her. And about 10 years ago, in 2012, around the same time I moved to Atlanta, she got out of prison on parole for good behavior. And she's been on parole ever since. Stuck in Sandersville, Georgia, where she was born and raised, where the murder happened. And I only imagine and how her life is, because Sandersville is a dead city. And so that drew me to church because I was suicidal and feeling like I must die for what I did. I caused Whitney's murder. I should have never gotten that woman's life. When she had a daughter, I should have said no, that's a no-go, but I didn't. I pursued it. I filled up with all kind of thoughts and all kind of dreams. And then like any guy, I find other women that want me that don't have kids, that are great in the bedroom, doing sexual things to me I never felt before, like happens to a lot of kids. And she's a white girl. I had such a desire for white girls that I did the wrong thing. So when I get to Raymond, I felt like I paid 4 years of penance, serving in church, going to church, reading the Bible. In essence, scared issueless because if God let my girlfriend go to prison for murder, what about me? What about me? I caused that because I'm talking on the phone for about 2 years. I'm driving north from Millsville, Georgia to Sandersville, Georgia to pursue her. I really fell in love with her. I took her down through the plantations of Middle Georgia, Brunswick, all the way down to North Jacksonville, North Florida. My mama never met Whitney. I regret that. I wish she did. But I fell in love with Whitney. Beautiful name, beautiful girl. She was 4 years old. She'll be 30 now. And so it hurt. But it drew me to God, which made me take Rhema so serious. So when I was at Rhema, I was dead heart attack, stroke serious. I didn't go to Rhema playing around. I wasn't gonna get kicked out of Rhema. That's a Bible school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was not going to mess up anything because I knew, and I didn't add a big part of this in. My mom died 4 years after Whitney died. Whitney died in 96. My mom died in 2001, March the 9th, of a simple disease that could have been overcame, but was misdiagnosed. So I'm unfortunately getting hit twice with the death in my life. And that made me question everything. And so instead of just getting mad at God and saying, F God, I ain't going to church, I ain't doing crap, I went to Bible school. And I owed that to Bishop George L. Davis. And even though Bishop Davis, oh, that roach keeps coming out. I'll kill you, roach. I'll kill you. Yeah. Good news. I got this insecticide that kills the babies in the roach. So these babies, so the roaches, they're alive, but all their kids are dead. All their eggs in their baby sac. This insect killer is called an insect growth regulator. It works. It doesn't kill the roach, but it kills the roach's babies. So in essence, it kills the roach. The roach can't multiply. So all I gotta do is kill the roach once, and I kill everything. So I gotta kill this roach here with some roach spray. But for some interesting reason, these roaches come out of cracks and crevices, which I have sprayed with the regulator. So right now, the roach is crawling on a residual spray of the regulator. But as I see the effects on the roach, you can see the pouch of the roach explodes, but the roach is still able to crawl. You would think it would die if the pouch of the roach with all the babies died, but that's that's some chemical engineering I don't understand right there, brother. But it's some chemical engineering all nonetheless. And so, one second, let me close this. Yeah, the thing about it, you see the asinine evil of these roaches. And how our house is full of cracks and crevices that they all can hide in. So, one lesson I can say about this experience of battling roaches is when I get my house, you really got to have good caulk, good spray. You got to caulk everything so that the roaches can't crawl up into certain cracks and crevices due to having that caulk. Amen. So basically, let me test this now. 1 second. 1 second. Oh, it's working now. All right. Yes. Broadcast studio is working. Yes. Stop the cam. Go in. Yeah, there we go. Yep. So we have network. We have network connectivity. All right. So I think I can see Wi-Fi not connected, but there it is. Bishop Ethernet 1914. It's the Real Gaming GBE family controller. We get the status. We see the packets. We got IP6 and 4 connectivity at 100 megabits per second, which is really nothing. That's a lot. That's very slow, to be truly honest. 100 megabits per second. It should be 1,000 megabits per second. Why is that 100? That's unusual. I have a gigabyte speed on my router. All right. I'm using DHCP, so it automatically puts the address in there. But I like to open that up so that I can see the speed of, because I'm so used to using Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi, of course, is through the air, and then of course LAN is through this cat. But this is a Cat 5 cable, so it may not be the best. It may have to get a Cat 6. So let me go look for a Cat 6 cable from Amazon. We always got to upgrade shit. I mean, that's just part of crazy. So Cat Gory 6 Ethernet cable. I need to get like maybe 20 feet. All right, that'd be great. Whoa, what's going on? All right, cool. So why is it not letting me? Yeah, there we go. 20 speed, yeah, $11. There it is. Perfect. That's what we need. So we have to upgrade. And you notice the Cat 6, the cable is very flat, whereas this Cat 5, it's a real thick coaxial. Time to upgrade to the next level. Oh, it's Cat 8 now. Sorry. We're at Cat 8. I thought we was at Cat 6. They even made a Cat 8. Dang. Time don't waste. All right. Test, test, test. All right, microphone check. All right, so we'll return. It said the broadcast is ended because something happened. So return to the dashboard. Leave the studio. 28 minutes ended. All right, turn to the dashboard. Go over here. Go to past, and we'll come back and we will delete the broadcast. Stop. What is going on with this? What are you doing? Thank you. See, it deleted when you hit the broadcast, it deletes all of it, which I love. And I go to upcoming, upcoming. Yeah. All right. And we can go to Cisco collaboration. Hey, we can share this. Why? It's my channel. Or why not share it? All right. This is how I can build for my own future interviews. Now, of course, there's copyright dates, but if I buy something, I mean, Voice Boot Camp could attack me, so I have to be very, very serious. But if it's off the SRND, then I'm good to go. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Okay. Looks like we got 100. Well, don't worry, we'll get that up to date. Cool. Now if I turn Wi-Fi on, it's going to connect Wi-Fi, and then we'll be able. What's going on? This is pissing me off. Don't like this. All right. All right. And then we'll be able to get started. Test, test, test. Microphone check. Ooh. Let's see if I can find the other microphone. There's the Evolve 65E. I don't know if I put everything back in its box. I wish I did, though. Wish I did. I had everything, but I don't know if I put everything back in its box. Ooh, there's a little holder there. Didn't even know about that holder. Cool. It's given to me by my current company. Hope to keep that shit when I go. I don't think they're gonna ask for it back, because why would you want to give my shit to somebody else? Excuse my French. Okay, now where? We gotta go find that. But there's a container for the Evolve. This is 65E that the girls have gotten, and they wanted my assistance on helping install, so I might as well show how that works. And it has the ear pods and the cable, and this cable looks like it has a little USB-C on it. Okay. I will find that jabber 1 second. So as I'm moving around, I've got to go back over to the other computer. We'll find that jabber. It's a new cable that I was going to use on my other computer, but now that I have everything working, we can go forward. Give me a couple seconds. Let's double check our view network status. See how our network is, Wi-Fi and LAN is working. All right, so Wi-Fi is off because that's on, but if I hit over here to Wi-Fi area, you see the symbol for land. You see Wi-Fi is available, but over here, you see Wi-Fi on, but I'm not connected. Good. That's what I want. I just want to be able to so I can switch back and forth between Wi-Fi and between LAN. All right. So as I was just saying, so for me, relationship-wise, I personally felt like a lot of people feel that relationship-wise, Chae, my ex-girlfriend, has some serious issues and that she needed some serious help. And I felt like anybody would feel relationship-wise. If I'm her boyfriend, which is tantamount to precursor or preparation to become her husband, that I have a obligation to get her help. And that's what I found in this experience. I found that most of the girls do not really want help. It looks like this chair I'm riding is causing that vinyl floor to keep popping up. I'm gonna have to get a wheelchair because at this moment in time it's just almost ridiculous. I can't destroy. I have just had a beautiful vinyl for 5 years, and all of a sudden the vinyl floor is starting to pop up and mess up crap, and it's very frustrating to me because I don't deserve that. But anyway, back to my point. And so what I was getting ready to say was that the relationship, I think I found it. Yep, I just found it. Great. I found my Jabra the ease thing. Had it in a bag here. I just had not unlocked it. Thank God for all these Ziploc bags. I don't have to move. All right, here we go. I had it over here. So one moment as I'm setting this up. And so this, of course, is a girl who I had dated. So we're talking from 2013 to 2016, and I personally did not expect, straight up, to be with a woman or to be 9 years in a relationship with a woman and not be married to her. Let's first call a spade a spade. I did not expect to be in a relationship with 9 years with any woman, have all of these conversations, and we're talking, we had a lot of conversations. And in these conversations, okay, it pretty much, all due respect, turned into a situation where I would talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. As you can see, I'm talking right now, and I've got over 3 hours of conversation and just me alone, which lets you know that there's a lot in my mind. Because if I talk monologue by myself for all this time and about a relationship from my past and give you story after story after story, that only shows you how intelligent I am. Because you will catch me on my lies because I can hear a person talk and I can tell when they lying, and I can also hear a person talk and I can tell when they tell the truth because it rings true and you have a spirit that it bears witness with. Okay, now there's one little piece I'm missing. I gotta find it. Where is that piece for the hub? This little hub. Oh, there it is right there. Thank you. I was looking for that little piece. Gotta have this little certain piece to plug in for this jobber to work. So we can plug that in. Good. And now I'll let my jobber work fine. So let's plug that in. Give me a second to plug that into the hub. I think I got a spot available. over here on the laptop. Let's plug it into the laptop. Let's see if I have a spot over here. Oh, I do. Good. Almost. Let's plug it in. Yep. All right. Good job. So there's my Jabra plugged into the hub. We now give it a couple seconds for it to set. We can turn on the Jabra. We know we got to charge it probably. So let's go find regular USB. Looks like it takes the old-fashioned USB. I mean the USB A, because you got a USB C, you got a USB, and so I have to plug in this. All right, so this will allow me to, because I haven't charged this in probably about 2-3 months, because I tested it but I didn't use it. But now that I got my new laptop, I can use it on this one while I have my work laptop over there for me to use what I have currently used now. All right, so plug this in. Boom, boom. And then what we'll do is we'll switch off in a few minutes. I won't let my charge. One thing I like about this Jabra is that the connectors have a magnet and they kind of connect together. So it's really cool. They really made this $100 device very, very profound and very nice. All right, so now I have enough plugins on my hub. Answer is no, they're full. So what am I going to do? All right, what we'll do is we'll unplug this keyboard for now because I'm not using that computer at this moment, and I'll use that port to charge this device. Unplug it when I'm done. You only get so many ports up in this thing. All right, boom. All right, so now it's charging, and that'll get an hour, and then we can come back and check this a little bit later. All right, so I found the Jabra, got that plugged in, I got that set with my new computer. I'm glad that's a go, and then we can move forward. Okay. Biggest thing was the microphone and the back sound and getting the microphone to work. So let's go to settings. We know the camera works. That's not a problem. We already know we got full depth. Audio wise, it automatically defaults to the Jabra link, and I can change that now to the we call computer array. Then you got to go down to hit the stop. You got to change this twice because it will default the Jabra link automatically. It's one of the, but I mean it's supposed to really. But I want it to play out of the speakers here, and then we can test that. So let's test it. Good. All right, test, test, test. All right, let's. I want to see. Let's unplug and let's see how much we got with the Jabra. The way Jabra works is that it would go around your head like this, and then you would unplug, pop this. Oh, looks like no. Looks like we'll go the other way. like this. Okay. So it would connect like that. And you would take the right one, plug that into your ear, and that would fit into the groove there. And that would just sit right here. And then, but you have a power button somewhere over here. And so the biggest question is how we turn it on. I've always had to figure it out. So I have a book here. So let's go to the book, and that's the warning, but let's go look at getting started. So there it is. So we got the how to wear the ear. All right there, and then here we got the power is the middle one, up is up. Okay, that's very simple. And then there's also a mute microphone assistant. And there's a mute microphone assistant right there where you mute. Okay, so everything runs off the right. Cool. So plug this in. All right, microphone will change the Jabra. We will basically press the middle one. One, two, three. Beautiful. Oh, the battery's full. All right, so the battery's full. Test, test, test. Microphone check. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Sorry, I can raise that volume. That's another click, another click, another click. Let's play. Um, let's switch the speaker to NVIDIA. I'm into Jabra. See how loud this is. Good. Extend, and we can switch that back to NVIDIA. Good. All right, so test, test, test. Look at that. So you hear that well. All right. So got that working, and we'll get started. Check, check, check. And we have the mute, and we have there we go. So we have three different mutes here, it looks like. All right. I can't believe my brother's passed on. I just can't believe it. All right, check, check, check. All right, we got that working. Okay, let's get it started. Getting better at this. Good afternoon. It's St. Tyrone from the 404 coming live and direct from his StreamYard, his new computer with his new Jabra device that I'm using. And I'm testing my Jabra 65 Evolve. It does sound very good. This is a little new Jabra wireless device that doesn't plug into a headset. It's just charged by a USB port on your computer port. And it's very light. I remember back in 2013, we had very similar I think it was by LG. Yeah, LG created these type of devices, and they were phenomenal because what they did was they can hang around your neck like a necklace, and they're very light. And so whenever you're on the phone with somebody, instead of using your computer lab, your wireless headset, and putting it next to your ear. Use the LG headsets that were black and they were a lot thicker to be able to have it set up and have it set up right. So right now I got two live streams working simultaneously. I've got one on my other computer. I got one on this one from two different channels. One's from Cisco Collaboration Hank, which is I'm about to do right now. Is we're going to be studying for a future interview, and we're right now going to what's called voicebootcamp.com. So as I'm going to it, I'm documenting my process because I want to have videos in the future for Cisco, technical videos for future interviews and jobs as I go toward this MP and recertifications and get that Cisco Collaboration CCIE cert as I desire to complete that goal. And it's a hard goal. It's not something easy, right? There's so many traps to take you off tangent and stuff. We got to stay focused. And I'm finishing up my other video, and we're talking about my ex-girlfriend and how relationship issues can affect our lives. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Samuels from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and who lived in Atlanta, Georgia, who I never had the privilege of meeting personally, but I've had the privilege of watching him online, and I want to say we miss you, man, and we are so shocked. But as we're right now in the process of looking at jobs at LinkedIn, and we're trying our best to be the best engineer we can be, we're taking your words of working at 60 to 70-hour work week to become the best that we can be. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that because it is so important for us to not allow your life, that dash between 1965 and 2022, to be forgotten. Amen. Does that make sense? So at 4:09 p.m., we're going to now continue to just document. And again, I want to make sure I put a video up because you'll be hearing me talk and pause and talk and pause and talk and pause and talk and pause because I'm working, right? And it's hard to be working and talking unless you're like showing a screen or something. Listening to the notes, it looks like the volume sounds good. We'll check and see. Let's go look at my settings and look at my mic settings and make sure the audio levels go up. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Make sure that my earpiece feels good. A little bit too tight for this ear here. Test, test, test. Not sure. Test, test, test. Okay. I got 1 bar on the mic. 1 to 2 bars. 1 to 2 bars on the mic. So that hopefully sounds good. Now I'm plugging in my second earpiece because I had just the right earpiece in. Now I'm plugging in both earpieces. So one of these has the mic or the noise cancellation mic in it, and that's what's running to the network. It's probably much better to have a boom mic. I don't have a boom mic yet. I will. My goal is to get a studio like Kevin Samuels, and but that costs thousands upon thousands of dollars. Let me show you Kevin Samuels so that we can document that this video is in definite honor of him. 23 hours ago, his mom, who has to be in her 70s, talked about her only son dying before her. It was never, I believe, mama's dream is for their son, the son they had sex with and created, to die before them. Every parent wants their child to outlive them. So I can only imagine tragedy right now. She's got to feel her only baby. Now, remember, Kevin Samuels said he was the child of 13 siblings. His daddy had a lot of babies. And he made himself into a $3 million net worth man through even tragedies of getting cancer. In the name of Jesus. And battling all kinds of diseases that God let him go through. he tried his best to speak, and of course, everybody's going to make him into a martyr now. Is he still alive? How did he pass? Where is he now? How old was he? And of course, they're going to talk about him, that he died of cardiac arrest, but they're not going to say where. But it's already on the news that he was having sex with a girl that came to his house the night before. Wasn't an ongoing long-term girlfriend. He never announced her to the world. And we all know it's been, we announce our baby, right? We announce who we love and who we want to marry. And so he unfortunately been married twice. And I think now he felt like, I'm 50 some years old. I'm at my peak. I can go have sex with anybody I want. And that is horrific. That is horrific, because this is his channel right here. And these are the channel movies that he made. And of course, everybody wants to come make negative comments. But 619,000 people watched the video he put up 2 days ago. 293,000 watched the video he put up 4 days ago. Of course, Jason Whitlock, a man who is not even in the world of us, wants to speak on black issues, and it makes me sad, because this is a man that is not in the black community. He is in no man's land. He's not in the white community, even though he has to work for them. And he ain't in the black community because he did not accept our premises. But he's going to come in and make a 57-minute video to get 37,000 views. Well, that doesn't matter, because probably the whites watch this show and none of the blacks do, because I know I don't. Other people have tried to watch him, and a lot of people are going to have their comments about him. But, you know, when we all die, that's what it's going to say. Hank Howie, dead at. That's just the way it is. But the sad part about it is, he did so many. Look at this. Fox Houston decided to put him on Girl Talk. And all this, notice, is about girls. It's all about, they're using the frame of he attacked girls. And I'm going to say that's a bunch of crap. He had told girls the truth to their ear, to their face, on camera. He stood up for the women that acted ignorant, like his mother, and the women of the generations of my mothers, and now the generations of my colleagues, my age group, and how messed up they are. And so here's questions now. How did he get so rich so quick? And then here is a lie by Dennis Sperling trying to talk about how he got so rich. And it's a white man. And he's now going to sit there and try to sell his channel so he can boost up his ratings. Look real closely. May the 1st, he then basically goes up, and all because he's trying to market users. I'm not going to join him, because I know the game, and we know how you want to. It's called clout chasing, and I'm not playing that game. Thank God I know the truth about some of these people. They don't care. But Kevin Samuel's the one that made outstanding videos. He the one that motivated us to think. He the one that dressed to impress, kept a brand, understood brand and imaging. That's powerful. Even others are trying. Ricky Smiley only hit 27,000 views. That ain't nothing compared to Kevin Samuels, because he stepped up the game. Now, some BS crap, he can't afford a funeral. That's a bunch of BS. And that's why it only gets 2,000 views, because people like this are ignorant. Right? And they put this out 3 hours ago. I want to make sure that I don't even click on it, because once you click on it, that's how you add, money to that people. Don't even click on it, but just understand the game. So this, your average at best, will follow this woman for the rest of her life, because when people ask 20 years from now whatever happened to this 35-year-old girl when she's 55 and she's still single, people going to remember Kevin Samuels, because there's going to be another Kevin Samuels and another Kevin Samuels who's even better. It won't be called Kevin Samuels, of course, but it's going to be another one that's going to step up and move forward and do great things. Amen. There's going to be another one that's going to go farther and farther and farther. Yeah, microphone is doing great than Kevin Samuels. So now this girl, Visions of Asia, she's trying to market off of his death by saying controversy continues about Kevin Samuels passing. Girl, right now you look like an ignorant fool. I don't think I'm connected to her, But let me make sure I unfollow her, unsubscribe her. Yeah, unsubscribe, and then look at her stats. It tries to rise up, but you can see she's been dropping and falling for a long time. And a lot of these girls will. A lot of these channels will. Because they have no content. This girl Vision of Asia, all she did was take his content and rewatch it. And once he stopped letting them do that, you saw what happened. You can look and look at her channel and you can see, look closely. Look how it was so high in April, 30,000 views. But then by the time of May, 4,000. You see the drop? Exactly. Exactly. So my point is, you may have a million views, and that's doable if you put up 130 videos. Because I could see I got 80 videos up, but the algorithm hasn't pushed me out there yet. But the bottom line is, look at her videos. They're nothing but using other people. They're nothing but just trying to use other people. See, look how many. You can go to all the videos and see how many times it's another man. It's rarely her, because her life ain't that big. She's like, oh, I got a million views. I'm so proud. But only 992 people watched this video. So it's not like you're making a big intent in your videos. But again, that's the fact. Now, this is the girl that has a baby out of wedlock. This is the girl that's like a typical black girl, single mama, trying to find a man to take her and her kid because the man that she got pregnant by won't marry her. And these are the things that Kevin Samuels had brought out. So I argue for him, and I take this little 12 minutes to say my piece because this what motivates me to study so that I can be able to get where I need to be in this life. So let's first do one thing. Let's make sure we have XVAST on our computer. Was this is a lab slash quote unquote job video for future jobs. So this does XFAB, and it plays what's called encrypted 4K video. I gotta make sure I install it. It's free now. So we're gonna install that on my Windows 11. It should work well for Windows. They have one for Mac, Android. We're gonna do the one for Windows. I'm gonna now click on downloads, going to install it, and we're gonna run it because we have to run that for Voice Bootcamp. We got videos on the UCCE, and they're basically 10-minute, they're like 40 or 50 10-minute videos each. It's because it's really easy to digest stuff if you do it in bits of 10 minutes. But our goal is to watch it one by one. We're going to try to watch a video after video after video so that we're able to just digest as much as we can this weekend. We got a whole year to study this stuff. This is things we study on our own. But because the odds of getting this job may not be. I'm hoping to get it. But this is only in the area of UCCE. And so to be studying and learning and master UCCE is a great tool, but it doesn't stop because you got to still go back and study CIPT 1, 2. You got to go back and study CICD 21060, 21065, CNA Voice 640, 461. You got to go back to all the books from the last 20 years because they're valuable, plus voice gateways, plus the new stuff that's coming out, the 200-301, quality of service, what's it called, collaboration applications, all those things. And so that's what we got to do now. So it looks like that has been installed with no problem. Thank God for that. Gonna log in, and this is a situation we got going on with Voice Bootcamp. We have a update that I'm supposed to be getting from Voice Bootcamp that has not arrived, even though I paid $1,900 for videos way back 2 years ago when I did not get it due to the fact that I paid for it. So here's my little comment. Way back 3 days ago, I put back in February 2020, right before COVID. I spent $1,900 to purchase this study kit. Then I see, and it's discounted to 50% off your website because they came out with something new. Now, the guy told me when I bought this that I would be able to get the latest study kit. So I wrote this email. I spoke to Mr. Khan, And before I purchased, he told me with the new version of 12.5, all these study kits, I will get a free upgrade to all of the 8 packages. Now, I think that's all right. I don't think I should get a free upgrade every year, but at least one, right? And so I see you're selling a version of 12.5, and many of the same packages upgrades are available. So after I showed them in writing, because me, I emailed this way back in 2020. This is an old email. I got a reply back. I got one reply back, and I then made sure I copied that email in as an attachment. So this is what I'm looking for now, and I'm looking for CLICA and CL Chlor. There's approximately 18 videos, and 18 videos is a lot because it got quality of service. It covers. I think there should be more than 18 videos for CL Chlor, but that's why I got the textbook. And if you look at my CL Chlor, it's like 800 pages for the CL Chlor, which reminds me, let's pull up that so that we have that on, because here's my Pearson, and this is the test prep where we will be able to go over certain questions under CL Chlor, on the different chapters that are in the sample test. And then we also have a lab which I can use to be able to practice doing routers and switch configuration right here, called the simulator. So we got this, we just borrowed, we just paid for that. So I put about $300 over the last week into these 2 documents that I didn't have to. I should have went to paying bills, should have went to paying credit cards, but I put it toward this. So I have to really make the most of this. And so we're working on CCNA, which is the base simulator for just the CCNA. But that I have the advanced, which is the stuff for my everyday job, which I have to learn. So I can't necessarily do the 200-300 stuff, because that is it's good to know, but they separate telecom and network, even though they try to get a person to do both. But the reality is they're both 2 damn separate worlds. Encore network is its own cert. Telecom Collab is its own cert. You don't. It's hard as hell to do 2 CCIEs simultaneously. All right, so we'll go over and look at the C-Chlor. That's the one right there. And there's a C-Claim. I bought that as well. And now the CLEC. So I have 3 different exams, and all 3 of these books are my mandatory for those 4 tests. There are 4 tests in the CCNP space now to get the official CCNP, and you need to pass all 4 because you want to go to CCIE. You're not just trying to be like a lot of people CCNP. So under the Chlor, we click on the C-Chlor, and it covers a lot of areas you can see here. And let's zoom in. And I can't really zoom in that much. It's a little bit hard to see. But it covers roughly 31 chapters. So there's 31 chapters, and he only covered 18 in his video. Did he finish talking about some of these things? I doubt it. But we got to know it, and it's an everyday job knowledge base, as well as for me to practice teaching so that I can be able to know I know it, because to be an effective test taker, you got to be able to explain it. So we got various tests I was trying to go into: call manager setup, LDAP, call admission control, and then we get into Edge, which is the services, the MRA, that's the collaboration edge. They call it Edge service for VCS Expressway. Then we get into mobile remote MRA traversal for, for expressways. Then iOS router. This is iOS router, very important for me because this is the everyday part of working with the router. Then unique connection. Then unique connection and voice mailbox. Then I'm in presence, which now finally gets to Jabber. Notice they put Jabber last. And they put up front telepresence and video, even though a lot of companies don't do telepresence because they got teams and they're not going to really put that in there. But for the cert, we got to know it, right? For our Cisco cert. And then we get in the Jabber soft clients. And then we get into troubleshooting endpoints. That's what I do in my everyday job. And then reports, how to do those unified manager reports, which I have not been doing at JLWin, but I need to start doing before I go to my next job, because I do have access to those reports. Okay, and so we're gonna now I'm going to scoot over and real-time monitoring tool, disaster recovery, and monitoring voicemail unit connection. So this covers a lot of great areas that are every day. And because you work in the field on the customer side, this really helps out a lot. So we got a lot to do. So right now, this is Saturday. They have not sent me a link to the new SharePoint with the new quote unquote 12.5. I figured he made a new one. I talked to Faisal Khan on Thursday. I wrote the email on Thursday. Mike Edward, his partner, did not respond. I'm going to call Faisal Khan again on Monday. I'm going to let him know I've sent the email. He will respond. He'll realize he's talking to an African American who thinks white. And when you think like a white man, you get white results because that's how they get results. White people don't take stuff for granted. They demand, they expect to have the best, and they get it. It's common sense. So that's what his video is about. Demanding and expecting the best. Common sense, if that all makes sense. So in a few minutes, you're going to hear me watch. You're going to watch. I don't know if I could copyright-wise play this on YouTube, even though I have seen on YouTube, and I have to make sure to put fair use on this because he could sue you, right? You taking the $1,800 that you paid out of your pocket, and then you showing it on your channel. So technically, people could say, "Why go to him?" And that's true. But in this space of Cisco voice telephony, it's such a small area. There's not going to be 250,000 views. There's not a lot of people wanting to learn this stuff in my world. I mean, there's not a lot of people in this world in general, period. That's what makes it so awesome. That's why we get paid so much. Because we don't have people that go to college that I didn't even know about Cisco at OU. And I probably may have found out about it if I found someone who knew it. And I'm pretty sure if I took engineering classes, I would have probably never gone because, no offense, engineering covers mechanical, electrical, and this would be considered computer slash electrical, but it's just a little different, if that makes sense. So, guys, I'm about to log out.